Apologies in advance for if this seems very non-chronological and scattered. My mind is rather messy when retelling experiences or stories. So my M17, and let's call him Logan, and I F17 were in a relationship for a year and bit. And during this time we had our fair share of arguments and tough times. However, towards the last 3 months of our relationship, Logan stopped caring about me as much. He'd stopped seeming excited to see me, and act as if it was more of a chore than anything, and got really rude during conversations which I mentioned, and he claimed he was just going through a difficult time. For context, he claimed his mum was always nagging him to babysit, and he never got time to himself or to come and see me, and he also claimed his dad never made efforts to see or talk to him. During the last few months of our relationship, I was dealing with my own stuff, such as my dad and I got in our only argument, and it was a big one, and he said he essentially didn't want to see me, and I was devastated. In this argument, which was over the phone and messages, since we don't live close, our points in the argument were over silly little things which piled up to be a much larger issue. I explained all this to Logan, and he appeared sympathetic, but told me I shouldn't not see my dad and started talking about how his dad doesn't care about him at all. I will make a separate paragraph about all the lies he has told, including this one. I also had my first year of college starting UK college. He is in the year above, so he'd already done his first year, and I was incredibly stressed about that. I had insomnia issues, and there was a huge amount of drama in my friend group, and everything felt as if it was going wrong. He also joined me and my mom on a holiday where he didn't even thank my mom, nor attempt to interact with her in any way, and clung to my side the whole time, and I didn't get a chance to speak to my mom as he kept dragging me away to do stuff. Which, yes, I could have walked away, but at the time I was too blinded by the excitement of a holiday with my boyfriend that I didn't notice how cruel I was being by doing so, which resulted in my mom screaming at me for it, and he didn't even step in to take some of the blame, and just said that I should have made more of an effort. He's done many things like this where he takes someone else's side or blames me, and then wonders why I questioned if he actually loved me. I won't tell everything he's done, or I'll be here for a century and a half. When breaking up with me, he came to mine and got me to walk my dog with him, and sat me down on a bench in a graveyard. I am fully aware of how odd that is, believe me lol, and pulled out 3 handwritten pages on why I was not good enough for him. He read them out to me aloud, not caring I was crying my eyes out and screaming into my sleeves of my hoodie because of how hurtful he was. Some of the reasons were just nothing to do with the relationship and were personal to me, and the others were just really random, such as our 1-year age gap, which suddenly bothered him after so long WTF, and the fact due to my dad and I's argument, I wasn't out as much as I felt too upset to do anything. He also told me I needed to get over my dad not wanting to see me and get a life, and then said he'd stay friends still after all that, which being desperate to stay in contact with him at the time. I agreed to, yet after a week, he also cut contact with me in that way, as he claimed I was too sad and clingy for him as a friend. Yeah, because I was at a low point and dumped, which made me feel so much worse at the time. One thing to add is at the time we were dating, a week before this breakup, I saw his location was elsewhere from his house when he claimed he was at home, and I asked him about it, and he claimed Snapchat glitched. He also had a few nights close to this time where he claimed he wanted to sit in a park alone at dark with his phone off for peace and quiet. I'd how I was so naive to believe this, but there's no point getting annoyed over it now. Just after the breakup, at college I saw him walking with this girl all the time, and he'd smirk rudely at me with her if he saw me around. Then they started holding hands shortly after a few times of this, and of course they're a couple, and he wanted to make it obvious he never cared, and was clearly at this girl's house before we broke up, and wanted a backup for when he dumped me. When I asked his close friend, who was still good friends with me, about when they started dating, and he hesitated, and I asked if he cheated, and he got all defensive, which says enough for me. It bothered me a lot at first, but honestly I'm doing so much better now. I have a new boyfriend who cares about me and isn't even similar to my ex in the way he treats me, and I look a lot better and have lost weight and have healthier skin, and my style has improved. I just wanted to share the full story since nobody I know in person would probably want to sit and listen to all this. So if you got this far, thank you for reading. Please feel free to share any similar stories.